right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Storms eased all that heat for many of us late this afternoon. The weather impact alert, though, continues Wednesday as the heat and humidity return in full force.
A district in disarray. St. Louis students still left in limbo just weeks before school starts. Tonight, the teachers union weighs in. Our top story, finally free. Just hours ago, Christopher Dunn walked out of prison, a hug from his mom, 34 years in the making.
I never gave up because my family never gave up.
He spent 3 decades behind bars for a murder he says he didn't commit. Tonight, Christopher Dunn is home. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. This comes a week after his murder conviction was overturned and an 8-day legal battle blocking his release. 5 on your side's Justina Coronel was there when Dunn walked out a free man. Justina.
Well, Christopher Dunn says there aren't enough words to really describe the feeling of being free. And tonight, he's home after being away for 34 years. Christopher Dunn breathes this moment in. It's his first moment out.
It's easy to give up in prison when you lose hope. But when the system chooses to throw you away, you have to ask yourself, if you're willing to just settle for it, or you gonna fight for it.
And he fought for 3 decades.
St. Louis, we did it.
We did it. Dunn always claimed his innocence from a 1991 murder conviction. Now a judge has exonerated him for a crime he never committed.
I never gave up because my family never gave up.
Dunn's wife stood by his side on the steps of the Carnahan courthouse in the very same place that put him away.
But at the same time, for my family, for standing behind me for all these years, I cannot forget my wife, who has stuck with me through thick and thin, through it all.
Dunn held his mom in his arms once again.
It was great. It was great.
He was supposed to hug her sooner. Last week, a St. Louis judge ordered his release. In his newest suit, Dunn was about to walk out, but the Attorney General stalled the case with an appeal.
Only to be brought back into the prison, it was torture.
On Tuesday, the Missouri Supreme Court gave Dunn the green light to come back home once the St. Louis Circuit Attorney cleared his charges. I asked Dunn if he had any words for the Attorney General.
Have a nice life.
Speaking to a crowd of reporters, Dunn admits he's looking ahead.
For those who participated in my prosecution, I forgive you. I'm not going to forget, but I do forgive you. But at the same time, I got to move on with my life too. I got a life to live now. And it's time to move forward. But until then, y'all take care. And don't forget those that still left behind.
Now, I asked him what he wanted to do first, and he said he wanted a St. Louis baseball cap and to go to Busch Stadium. Now, we did reach out multiple times to the Attorney General's office, and we have not heard back. Reporting live, Justina Coronel, 5 on your side.
Here's a live look downtown St. Louis. The threat of severe thunderstorms has ended.
However, we remain in a weather impact alert for the ongoing threat of extreme heat and humidity. Let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with the latest.
Well, the one thing those thunderstorms did do earlier today as they rolled into the metro area took the edge off the heat, at least for a little while late this afternoon into this evening. The wind gusted to 40 miles per hour out at Chesterfield at Spirit of St. Louis. Most of us, though, did not see a whole lot of rainfall for an extended period of time, just enough to knock those temperatures down. They're not staying down. The humidity certainly didn't go anywhere. The excessive heat warning continues for the metro area until 7 o'clock Thursday. Basically, we're talking that heat index, 105 to 110 degrees during the afternoon hours. That becomes, especially since tomorrow will be the third and Thursday, the 4th day with this, it's one of those cumulative effects on us. So tonight, we're still around 80 degrees. We're not expecting temperatures to drop much. The chances for showers and thunderstorms, they've now pretty much dissipated. There might be a stray shower off to the north of St. Louis. But for those of you that work outside tomorrow, here's the big heads up. It's going to get hot just like it did today very quickly. But unlike today, clouds are not going to be rolling in the afternoon and thunderstorms will not develop, which means upper 90s close to 100 and the heat index 105 to 110 degrees. We have to stay hydrated and try to spend some time in air conditioning. Check on your senior neighbors, too, to make sure they're staying safe. Kelly?
All right, Scott. St. Louis students head back to school in less than 3 weeks, and tonight uncertainty surrounding the district remains. The teachers union held a news conference today to address the recent financial and leadership turmoil.
5 on your side's Laura Barczewski shares how they're preparing for the first day of school despite the challenges.
The American Federation of Teachers Local 420 says they're doing what they can to support their members and St. Louis Public Schools as they keep their eyes on a new school year.
I have to be clear that education, the safety of St. Louis school children are our #1 priority. That comes first for us.
The financial state of the district has been discussed publicly, going from a $17 million surplus and now could run a $35 million deficit. Spokesperson Byron Clemens says they are not concerned about the district's financial situation and reassures teachers their contracts and salaries have not been affected.
We don't concur that there's a budget deficit at this time. There's a rainy day fund with a significant amount of money in it.
Getting kids to and from school is another concern. The previous transportation company ended their contract early and an emergency plan was put in place. On Monday, the school board president says they're doing their best to make sure students are in class day one.
We're dealing with our 18 vendors that we're working with. We have a plan in place. The board has voted and approved that plan. So we're working and we need all hands on deck.
Clemens says while they're not in charge of transportation, they're doing what they can to help outside of school hours.
Right now, we're in negotiations with the district for before and after care. That has been an issue that we've looked at.
And when it comes to matters involving Superintendent Dr. Keisha Scarlett, the union supports the investigation.
We have some concerns about what may or may not have happened with spending on the 10 to 20 people that Dr. Scarlett brought in, but that's not in our purview right now. It's only 20 days to the opening of school, and we have to prepare for that.
Reporting in St. Louis, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
For the 11th consecutive year, Clemens says they're reviving the mentor program for new teachers. The initiative pairs novice educators with experienced mentors, and this year welcomes 50 new participants to the support network. The investigation into the CVPA school shooting is officially closed, and tomorrow police will release 2 videos from the October 2022 shooting. Police and city officials have warned that the video may re-traumatize viewers. St. Louis Public Schools have said they will have mental health resources available.
Tonight, dozens gathered in Chicago to support the family of Sonia Massey. She was shot and killed by Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson July 6. Now, activists, including the Reverend Al Sharpton, are starting a fund to support Massey's children. Sharpton and others also called for police reform across the country.
Multiple teams are out surveying storm damage in St. Clair County. Severe weather earlier this month caused flooding across much of the Metro East. Now FEMA and other agencies are estimating how much it'll cost to fix the damage to homes and roads. FEMA officials say it could be months before funding makes it to homeowners. Well, dozens of dogs swam to survive that flooding in St. Clair County.
And tonight they are still in need of forever homes. New at 10. 5 on your sides, Robert Townsend has the nonprofit animal shelter's latest plea for help.
For the past 2 weeks, Gateway Pet Guardians here in East St. Louis has been packed with dozens of pooches. And that's why the folks here are pleading to people to come adopt a pet or foster one.
The need is just very dire. If we can't move animals, we can't continue to save some off the streets.
On July 16th, floodwaters rushed through the St. Clair County Animal Shelter and nearly 70 dogs swam to survive. Lots of animal lovers pitched in and fostered the dogs for 2 weeks. But now that time has lapsed and about 20 dogs are returning to the already overcrowded shelter that currently has no open kennels. Gateway Pet Guardians hopes more people open their hearts and give these guys homes. The dogs range from 1 to 3 years old.
We are always in the need. This will never stop. Animals need rescued every day, and it's super simple. We make it simple for you. Just walk on into our open hours at Gateway Pet Guardians, and we're there to help you every step of the way.
So right now you can go to KSDK.com, click on this story under the As Seen on TV section, and you'll find a link to Gateway Pet Guardians website. You'll also soon see those photos of all those cute dogs ready to be adopted or fostered. In East St. Louis, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Tomorrow is the last day. Gateway Pet Guardians has reduced adoption fees for shelter pets to $50 for adult dogs and cats. All you have to do is show up at the shelter on North 15th Street between 2 and 6 p.m.
The city earnings tax. Workers at Busch Stadium have to pay. What about the highest paid employees on the field? We verify. It's a spectator sport at the Olympics, where the pursuit is for pins, not medals.
It's an incredible way of breaking down barriers.
The St. Louis pastor headed to his 11th Olympic Games to spread the word.
Dangerous heat and humidity levels return for a couple more days. If a break in this pattern arrives in time for the weekend.
With just 1 week until the Missouri primary, Congresswoman Cori Bush is losing a key endorsement.
Community activist, the Reverend Darrell Gray, who endorsed Bush 3 times in the past, is now supporting her challenger, Wesley Bell. And today we asked him why.
I think that we need someone right now in St. Louis who's going to be focused on St. Louis. I support Congresswoman Bush's position on Palestine 100%. Palestine can't be our only issue.
Reverend Gray says dozens of other clergy members are backing Bell, too. Just yesterday, a new poll from the Melvin Group shows Bell with a 6-point lead in the Democratic primary. The same poll had him only at 1 point ahead last month.
We put together a complete voter guide for next week's Missouri primary. All you have to do is text the word guide to 314-425-5355, and we'll send it straight to your phone.
Thousands of people are now eligible for a refund from the city of St. Louis after the city settled a lawsuit over its earnings tax.
A 5 on Your Side viewer asked our Verify team if some of the highest paid people working in the city ever had to pay the earnings tax in the first place. Here's Ann Allred with the answer.
First, let's go over the earnings tax basics. If you live in the city of St. Louis, you pay a 1% earnings tax, and this lawsuit doesn't affect you. For those of you who live outside the city of St. Louis, but whose employer is based in the city, you also pay a 1% earnings tax. But this lawsuit settlement states that if you were working remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic, you're entitled to get that money back for the years 2020, 2021, and 2022. 5 on Your Side viewer Ray Fetch from Maryland Heights asked the Verify team, do professional athletes pay the city of St. Louis 1% earnings tax? Let's verify. Our sources, Greg Daly, Collector of Revenue for the city of St. Louis, the Cardinals, Blues, and City SC. Because all 3 teams are based within city limits, professional athletes do pay the 1% earnings tax most of the time. If they're on the road, they do not. Spring training, for example, they would not pay the earnings tax because they're in Jupiter.
Because they're in Jupiter.
And that goes for you, too. It's been a longstanding policy. If you're not a city resident and your city-based company sends you out of town, you can file paperwork with the city to be exempt from paying the earnings tax on those days. And it's not just the St. Louis athletes paying the tax. So are their competitors.
Athletes that come in from other cities, they actually pay the earnings tax also.
Due to strict tax laws, how much the Cards, Blues, and City SC players pay each year in earnings tax isn't accessible. But we can verify, yes, professional athletes pay the city of St. Louis 1% earnings tax, except when they're working out of town. I'm Ann Allred, 5 on Your Side.
What would you like us to verify? Just send an email to verify@ksdk.com.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell's back with the weather impact forecast.
And a lot to talk about tonight. You know, we had those thunderstorms earlier today, giving us a little bit of a break in that heat and humidity, at least the heat part of it. The humidity's still there. At Lambert, some flight delays as those storms rolled overhead. Lambert picking up about 1/4 inch of rainfall today. Tomorrow afternoon, once again, the heat index values are going to be in that 105 to 110 degree range. And look over towards Salem and Nashville and Mount Vernon. You're seeing that 110, 111. Tomorrow afternoon, next to those cornfields, we saw it today over at Scott Air Force Base with the heat index topping out around 110 just ahead of those storms. It's going to be a similar scenario tomorrow afternoon and again into Thursday. And so this heat has a cumulative effect on our body. It also has a big impact on those that don't have effective cooling. Try to spend some time in the air conditioning. If you don't have it, make sure your senior neighbors do or can spend some time in a safe spot. Heat index 105 to 110 next couple of days. We're limiting our physical activity. We're drinking plenty of water, using that air conditioning, staying out of the sun. Don't forget your kids and your pets. Don't leave them in those hot cars. Right now in St. Louis, 80 degrees, 2600s in the rain gauge today, 96 for the high, 78 was the low. That was during the rain this evening. Temperatures, they're staying about steady overnight, 70s to around 80. The parade of storms we've seen the last couple of days to our north and east really gets focused a little farther north and east. So the heat headlines stay in place. The excessive heat warning right through Thursday afternoon in St. Louis. Again tomorrow, those heat index values climbing 105 to 110 degrees. And the chances for showers and thunderstorms tomorrow looking limited. From St. Louis back to the west, even lower chances than what we've seen the last couple of days. Far to the north and east, from Jerseyville to Carlinville to Litchfield to Nokomis, maybe to Vandalia, the areas northeast of St. Louis may see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms, but for most of us, it's just searing heat and stifling humidity tomorrow. We're going to have 2 more days of this, and then we will get a break going into Thursday. On Thursday, we will find that front starting to press in. Might see a shower or thunderstorm come Thursday afternoon. But then we will bring temperatures back closer to average for this time of year. Highs expected to be in the lower 90s. Weather impact alert next 2 days. No questions. Tomorrow it's close to 100 for the high, and we will be looking at that heat index from 105 to 110 degrees. Over the weekend, not quite as hot, not quite as humid. So at least it's more of a typical St. Louis summertime than this extreme heat that we're dealing with now, Mike.
All right, Scott, thanks. While Olympic athletes strive for medals, fans of the games are in pursuit of collectible pins.
Yes, in tonight's Practice to Podium, Frank Cusimano introduces us to a St. Louis pastor headed to Paris to take part in the ultimate spectator sport.
At Concord Church on Tesson Ferry, they employ a fascinating figure. Jeff Wells is the missions online pastor. He's a 56-year-old father of 2 who does the typical work of many pastors. He's often devouring his Bible and perhaps taking notes for a Sunday sermon. But make no mistakes, this summer there will be nothing typical about Jeff's life.
I really believe there'll be people in heaven who will say, hey, you don't remember me, but because you had that conversation with me in Paris is why I'm here today.
Jeff is headed to Paris for the Summer Olympics, and he will bring with him about 3,000 of these Olympic pins.
Every pin represents a gospel opportunity, whether it's a conversation or if we stick it on one of our business cards and we hand it to a clerk in a cafe or a little retail shop.
Paris will be Jeff's 11th Olympics. He's met everybody from T.J. Oshie to Christy Yamaguchi. But it's not about celebrities. It's about trying to have 100 conversations a day with people from all over the world. And it's not easy all the time.
I'm not there selling Jesus. I just want to tell you about what God's done for me through Jesus and what he offers to do through you.
So why the pin trading as the hook?
It's called the unofficial spectator sport. It just makes for a great way of engaging in gospel conversation, in conversations in general.
And the Beijing trip was Jeff's favorite. It is when he started the process of adopting his daughter, Joy Lee.
Now here's Frank with a preview of tonight's competition desk.
Well, I'm not sure which was better, the USA gymnastics team or one at-bat by a Cardinal. Those stories and Coach Drink with a cool thought on his quarterback and Channel 5 employee, Brady Cook, next. Today is what makes sports truly special. A Tuesday night between 2 teams that combined 1 game under 500. But one player gave us a moment we will remember for a long time. First inning, future Hall of Famer Max Scherzer is 18 years older than Mason Wynn. No respect for his elders. A solo shot for Wynn, 1-0 Cardinals. It was the first pitch of the game. 37-year-old Brandon Crawford is a little closer to Max's age. He rips a double to the corner. It scores 38-year-old Matt Carpenter, and it's 2-1 Cardinals at this point. The moment of the night and the month, maybe the season, Tommy Pham, his first at-bat back as a Cardinal, an opposite field grand slam. Thank you, John Mozeliak. Before that, no Cardinal pinch hitter had even had an extra base hit this season. Cardinal pinch hitters had totaled 3 RBIs. There's 4 right there. And there's a Cardinal win, 8-1. After the game, I asked Tommy to rank this moment in his career.
It was different because of the ovation. So that's probably the best moment. Definitely my best moment here. One of the top moments of my career.
How about the reaction in that dugout when you got there? What
That's,
did that mean?
yeah, guys pulling for one another. That's when a team comes together, the togetherness, it's a dangerous team.
Right before the trade deadline ended, the Cardinals acquired Rays reliever Sean Armstrong for Dylan Carlson. He's well-traveled. The Cardinals are a 6 team, but the 33-year-old can strike people out, 50 Ks in 46 innings. His ERA is 5.40. The Mizzou Tigers had their second day of practice today. Brady Cook, who now works for Channel 5, as you may have heard, also quarterbacks the team. He's coming off a wonderful season, and I thought Coach had a really good take on his quarterback, Brady Cook.
We're all susceptible to complacency or falling into that praise and blame trap. You know, he didn't let the blame get to him, and my anticipation is that he won't let the praise get to him too. But I'm constantly hammering him with, we don't need a celebrity quarterback, we need a battlefield commander.
And he is a commander. Have you seen Brady around the lunchroom?
No, I haven't seen him yet.
No, not yet.
He'll be with us every Sunday, Sports Plus, during the football season.
All right. Thanks, Frank. Well, here are the Olympic events coming up on 5 on Your Side. Next on Late Night in Paris, 3x3, basketball, and BMX freestyle cycling.
And tomorrow morning, starting at 8, you can catch women's beach volleyball and the men's gymnastics all-around final. It was a very special day here at 5 on Your Side. We celebrated Art Holiday's 45th anniversary at the station. His co-anchor of 22 years, Jennifer Blom, even made a surprise visit to the newsroom today.
Yeah, Art started here on July 30th, 1979 as weekend sports anchor. He went on to anchor today in St. Louis with Jennifer. The duo became a morning staple for countless St. Louisans. Art now serves as KSDK's news director. So congratulations, 45 years.
I love seeing that old video too.
Yeah. There you have it. 5 on Your Side at 10:30. NBC's Olympics coverage continues next with Late Night in Paris.
And start your day with Today in St. Louis at 4 a.m. Rennie Knott reports live from Paris. Have a great tomorrow.